Hello guys, today we're gonna be starting a new game series for the game City of Gangsters. It is a turn-based, single-player strategy based in America during the Prohibition. You play as the head of your own family and work to gain control over the streets of a big city where you try to extort businesses, manufacture and sell alcohol, all the while avoiding the cops and rival family gangs. I've actually played this before and it is tons of fun. And even while I was playing it, I thought, that would make a very interesting series. So here we are, a few months later, trying to realize that idea. So let's do it together. Recently, there have been some updates, I believe, to add gambling to the game, as well as some other stuff, and this should be really interesting. So if you click here on a new game, and see that we get a selection of cities to start out in. We got Chicago, Detroit, Pittsburgh. But while those options seem kind of limited, it is all actually procedurally generated, so you rarely have the same city as another player unless you want to. Pass it here as a value for the seat. And it serves more as a template for how the city is generated. For example, you get more industrial areas or more suburbs, more bridges, certain kinds of alcohol, stuff like that. But I'm gonna spare you all the wall of text here, which is actually interesting, but I don't really like reading such big lines of text, and the important part is right here. So if we go to Chicago, we see that certain locations are not made all equal. Downtown is reasonably accessible from almost anywhere. However, the highest concentration of industrial areas and train stations will be located around the back of the yards and West Loop, which may require some creative relationship management to gain access to. Bridges are a key feature and link the three main regions, but provide opportunities for rivals to block off important routes. If we go to Detroit, we see that Detroit River separates the city from the Canadian neighbor of Windsor, Ontario. A lack of bridges means that there is no conventional access between the two cities. However, the river does provide some scope for smuggling across the border via boat. Uh, kind of lost where I am here. If you work your relationship and build some trust with Canadians living in Detroit, you will have the opportunity to fund an agent and safe house over the border. That sounds way too complicated, although interesting. We might start a new series in Detroit later if it's interesting. But what I really like most is this Pittsburgh city, and you might see the reason why. Pittsburgh is home to two unique drinks, Applejack and Rakia. With these two additional alcohol types, the city has a much larger and more diverse market for alcohol than the other cities, meaning that it will be easier to get a faster start and earn more money overall. We like more money overall. However, the three rivers and abundant hills create a ton of choke points which could present you with challenges when expanding your territory, so you need to be extra careful where you set up your fronts and how you work your relationships. So I think that's gonna be the one we go for because it sounds most interesting. And we also like the Rakia part, which will play a part in our character creation here in the next step. So let's get some random city in Pittsburgh, continue, and we get to customize our character. We get to select nationality, name, gender, how our portrait looks, stuff like that. And we also got here some starting personality and a starting skill. So I think I'm gonna go here for, you get some options here. And by the way, the nationality plays into the social element of the game, meaning that it will be easier to develop relationships with people of your same nationality, and it will be easier to keep them happy and stuff like that. So I guess the easiest one would be to just select American, since most people in the city will be American. But since we're gonna be doing some shady stuff, maybe it will help us if we were a minority of some kind And since we're gonna be producing and selling rakia in this city, I think we have the perfect one. We're gonna select Yugoslavian. And we get to customize here how he looks. Let's randomize him. No, this guy sounds cool, looks cool, but he doesn't look very Yugoslavian. Let's see here. What about this guy? Yeah, Tony Collar. Doesn't sound very the collar outfit. And his name is Tony, like Tony Soprano. Alright, we're gonna go with this guy. Tony Collar. Why not? And he has an iron fists and he's natural mechanic. But actually we want something else. Let's see here. What do we select? We got Torpedo, who is immoral, vindictive, agile. This might be interesting. Immoral does sound cool. Or we got the Tough Tyrant, Bookworm. Let's go for the Torpedo here, why not? And these traits just give you some boosts as well as some penalties to your character. For example, he'll have more action points or more driving, or he'll be stronger in fights, or he'll be weaker in fights, and stuff like that. He's also a natural. Getting territorial, or we want protection rackets, and that will reduce the displeasure from protection demands by 10%, as well as increase the amount of protection money paid by each business that you extort, and decreases the amount of time they're upset about it. So that's good. More money is always good. So let's start here. We get some time to generate our city. Right, so we're a 19-year-old Yugoslavian and we arrive in Pittsburgh. It's 1920 and the country is prosperous but divided. The National Prohibition Act just made it illegal to sell, manufacture or transport alcoholic beverage anywhere in the country. So basically it's going through what prohibition is, blah blah blah. You get to persuade police to look the other way. And we're staying with our aunt Gertrude Sandor. She has a small business in the city and she's going to take you under her wing. So that's great. We have someone to help us get started here. Oh, and as I see, we have also a rival gang right next to us, which I've never had before in my seeing one as soon as I start, but that's certainly interesting. So we'll need to watch out for that. They will try to harass our businesses and also try to harass the people working for us. So, as I mentioned, the game is turn-based and every turn is 7 days and every turn ends once every character that you control has expanded all their points, which are action points and movement points. You get more movement points and you spend movement points by going around corners and action points by selling alcohol, basically talking to people. So every corner is this thing here with the yellow, and once you get to a corner you can talk to the businesses and set up shops, sell stuff, buy stuff, stuff like that. So this is the shop that our aunt controls, the Pennsylvania Fruit Emporium, and it's basically the one that we control. So if we hover over to it, we see our aunt here, we got a nice portrait, and she gives us some information here. But what's interesting is that she also gives us some things to get us started. For example, we have here some money, a weapon, some brick wine, which is a finished product of alcohol, and some grape concentrate, which is basically an ingredient to make brick wine or other types of wine. And we'll be using that later when we set up our own operation. But what we want to do here is actually take some money and try and offload as much product as we can here, just so that we can get some money, because if we go over here we get to set up our operation. And if we go here, we also see that this business is a legal business and it already produces 8 barrels of grape concentrate every 7 turns, so that's every 49 days. So every 7 days we'll get 8 barrels of grape concentrate, and if it's not used it will go to this storage here, which can fill up quite quickly. It's already 30% full. So we want to utilize this grape concentrate by setting up an operation to directly use it. And it's really useful to have it here, because usually what you do is you set up an operation and then go look for the ingredients, make sure the operation is supplied so that it can produce the alcohol. But half of the stuff that we need is already here. We have the grape concentrate, and if we go here we can see what we can do. We can set up a moonshine operation, brick wine, cider, homebrew, applejack, which is the signature, one of the signature drinks of this city, and an improved applejack operation, whatever. But since we're already producing the grape concentrate, we wanna go for the brick wine here. So if we click here, we see that we need 45 crocks and 6 barrels of concentrate every 7 days in order to produce 45 crocks of brick wine. But in order to do that, we first need some money and some lumber. So the lumber we already have provided here in our starting resources, but we need to get 700 bucks, which is quite a lot for those days. So in order to do that, we'll need to sell off some of this inventory that we have here, and we'll try to take as much as possible, which we already did, since our 2-door passenger car is 100% full. Later on we can take trucks and they can load more stuff, but that will do the job for now. We can also go around the neighborhood and discover some businesses. For example, we can already see some businesses here: the Central Painting and Construction, Melvin's Pastries, the Green Counter, stuff like that. Some cafe places, tea rooms, scrap yards that will repair our vehicles, hotels. But we also have these, which have a little question mark here, which means that we don't know what they're selling. For example, it says standard cannery, but we don't know what it is, so we need to go over there and ask the owner, which would consume some of our action points here. But what we want to get started with here, as I mentioned, is just sell off some inventory. But where do we know how do we know where we can sell some of this brick wine? If we go over to our resource overlay, we can start clicking here and see where we can sell it. But we don't have any contacts yet, and we don't know where to sell this stuff. But if we go to these red ticket icons here, these are all people that owe us some favors. And if we go under here, these two heads, that actually tells us that there is someone who knows who might be particularly useful to us, which means someone who's either selling materials to build our own shop, like bricks and lumber, or he's selling some ingredients to make alcohol, or he is buying some alcohol for his shop. So let's go to our aunt and ask her for a favor, and ask her if she knows anyone buying what I've got or selling what I need. So she tells us, I know Robert. And if we go to tell me more, she mentions some guy that works in some shop that we don't know about yet. So we use this favor in order to have a good word for us, which basically means that he will now owe us a favor as well. So you can go around creating a network of people that you know. So if you go click on this icon here, it tells us our aunt knows this girl and this guy, and she knows us, and she knows someone all the way here. Which I don't know how useful it is, but it is what it is. And it also gives us information about our relationship with this person, I think. Yeah, it's our relationship, not her relationship. So now she introduces us to this guy, and if we go to him, he will introduce us to other guys. He knows the head of this family and stuff like that. Eventually, we'll also wind up hiring more guys, and that will mean that we get to do more stuff faster. As you see here, once we talk to our aunt, one of our action points is depleted, and we have 2 more before we're basically useless and we have to go to the next turn. So eventually we'll wanna control more guys, but for now our roster is full because we don't have a very big territory. But how do we expand our territory, you might ask? Well, you set up fronts. If we go to another place here, for example, if we go to this corner right here, we can talk to one of these guys, for example this tea room, and we can ask for the favor it owes us, and we wanna ask them to be a front for us. So they'll either refuse or accept. Most of the time they'll accept because they're scared of us, and they're also happy to get some money from us. Unfortunately, we forgot to take some money, so we'll need to hop on over back to our shop and get 180 bucks, which I don't know if we even have. We have 150, so we might actually first need to sell some of our products, and we can buy some grape concentrate and crocs here, which is really useful because it's right next door to our operations is gonna be. So let us ask if this guy knows. Wait, we don't want to wait burn our favor on that. So this guy is gonna be our front. So we'll leave 1 favor on him while we hop on to this girl and ask her if she knows someone useful, and she'll tell us so. And this guy actually buys brick wine, which is really useful. So let's go over here. We want to sell the brick wine, and we can also negotiate for the price to get 20% over the market price, which basically means that it will strain our relationship a little bit. But every time you buy or sell from someone, you actually get an increase in relationship, so that will help us. So let's negotiate the price. We get $18 per crock instead of our original 15. We might have some in the car, and we sell her. She wants to buy only 14, which kind of sucks, but it would be enough for now to set up our front here. So now we have 400 bucks. We made 252 this turn. And can we ask you when we ran out of action points? So what we can do here is actually hop on next door to explore a little bit, because we have some leftover movement points. So we'll do that, and then we'll go over here because next turn we want to set up our front here. And that front will actually start generating revenue for us. Well, not generating, but we can come over here and start collecting revenue from all the businesses that we, well, extorted. So it cost us 180. Our respect is rising in the city, and now we have a front here, and our territory expanded a little bit. So now we can actually also talk to them about expanding territory to a nearby corner. And they'll tell us, okay, we need $10 a month in order to do that. And we'll start doing that as well. Also, our relationship increased quite a bit, so we can ask them. First of all, nice, we can actually look for weapons here. I could use some information about who's selling what in the neighborhood. Would you be able to help me out? Those are different than this. Alright, this one improves our relationship, and this one... Right, well, our operation is running low on containers at the moment. Can you find me some willing sellers? Right now I'm looking for some additional operations. Do you know anyone with construction materials? So we don't need any of that, so we won't waste our favor for now. We might use those later. So actually, is there someone who buys more brick wine? We want to sell some more of our brick wine here. We can sell homemade beer here, which we have some in our emporium here. So let's hop on over there. But we want to offload the brick wine first, because it takes one action to sell a whole bunch of stuff, and we don't want to waste one action for selling the beer and one action for selling the wine. We want to knock it out in one go. So in order to find out where we can sell our stuff, we need to go to these heads here, and they will introduce us to people willing to buy stuff that we need. So if we head over here, talk to this woman, she will introduce us to Violet. And this, she actually tells us what she's selling now. Heard you have some inventory, you should meet Violet, I'll take care of it. So she doesn't tell us what she will buy, but it might be useful nonetheless. We also have some notifications here. We learned of a new resource, grapes. Great. And our respect is rising, and your front is working hard on increasing your reputation in the neighborhood. A new corner should join your territory soon. And that is this corner. And we met some local troublemakers, Bell and the crew. So these guys are in yellow, not only because they're a different gang, but also because they are hooligans. And what is a hooligan? Well, this one is a rival family, which are on the same level as we are. They might have several family members working for them, and they're generally stronger and will work on increasing their territory as time goes on. And so are we. But these hooligans are quite happy to have their little corner here, but they will protect it really fiercely and not let you do business with the people on it. And might also start causing problems outside of that corner as well. So they're kind of pesky, but they can be really useful because they sell some weapons, cigarettes, stuff that you can't really manufacture. Because I believe most of what you can manufacture is alcohol. Not sure if you can get weapons or cigarettes, so you can only buy it from other people. And they will give you missions and reward you with stuff, and you can increase the relationship you have with them, or you can take them out entirely and take their corner if they start being too much of a nuisance. But we're not gonna do that for now, because we want to grow up our sphere of influence a bit before we start whacking people. And our action points are done again, so we need to rest. But we still haven't found a way to offload our Bitcoin. We actually do, we can offload it here. So let's fly over there, and in the next turn we'll try and sell some of our stuff because we don't have action points anymore. So let's do that. Right, and they also move like we do, so they might come over to us and beat us beat the shit out of us, but they probably won't because they're weak as well and they don't want big guys like us stepping on their toes. So let's sell some of this brick wine here. We want to negotiate the cost, get 20% over market price and sell. And we still have quite a bit left, and they will eventually want to buy more from us, but I think it takes a month or something like that to refresh their supply needs, and we're not gonna wait here for turns in order to be able to sell our stuff. So we'll go over back to our corner, get more stuff, leave some of this money because we don't want to get caught with it. There's actually police officers and they might cause you problems if you don't pay them off. And for now we're quite poor, so we're gonna try to avoid them because we're saving up for an operation. So let's head over here, see if this guy can give us some useful contact. She recommends Doris. Let's go to Doris. What does Doris want to buy from us? Brick wine, great. That's what we're selling. Let's go get it. We want to negotiate the price, of course. We want to get every penny that we can. And 14 crowns. Looks like that's what they usually go for. But we now have $700, which means we can set up our operation. So let's go back to our emporium here. Keep calling this emporium. Yeah, it is an emporium. Our Pennsylvania fruit emporium. We can set up an operation, which actually I think doesn't cost us a turn, does it? We have $700. I think we need to leave them in the store in order to do that. Yep, and we can start building it, which will take 5 days. 5 turns, 35 days. So let's start this. Backroom brick wine bootlegger. What does this require? Backroom bootlegging. Eventually we gain skills which gives us the opportunity to produce more complicated alcohol. For example, we have basically a jar or a crock of beer right now, but as time goes on we can produce more expensive stuff like whiskey, gin, all that good stuff. But for now, a backroom brick wine should be enough just to get us started. Right, under construction, this operation will become active in 35 days. We also have some operation costs, I think, so we want to get some more money ASAP. So let's get the rest of the brick wine and some beer. Why not? We need to look for more places to sell our brick wine. And we've run out of people to talk to, but we can use our favors to actually start. Let's go to the next turn here. And our crew member has leveled up. So if we click here, we get more action points per turn, more movement points per turn, or combat effectiveness. We're gonna go for action points, because it is our bottleneck for now. So we wanna increase that to get more stuff done quickly. And we can also actually set up a manager here, but we don't have any other crew members. And we can also do some expansions, which require skills that we don't have. So eventually we'll get there, but for now, not so much. And we also need to buy some crocks in order to supply this place, because it produces grape concentrate, but it doesn't produce cracks. So it gives us 8 barrels of concentrate and it costs us 6. So we'll have a surplus of 2 every month. Not every month, but every 7 turns. I don't know why it's like that and not every month, but whatever. So we need to buy some Crocs, and if we hover over our resource overlay, we can see who sells Crocs. And it's those three fellas, so we'll mark this as favorite because we're going to be using that quite a bit. And we can go and buy some Crocs. And we also have a new head here, which means they know someone useful to us, hopefully. If we go over here, click on it, we also have another symbol, which I'll explain briefly. They know skills that might be of use to you. So if we go over here and say I'm looking to learn new skills, she will give us, I think, a quest. You want to know my home brewing secrets? Well, it's pretty easy. You just need some Crocs and a good supply of malt. If you get your hands on some malt, I'd be happy to show you how it works. So basically she wants to teach us how to make beer, which sounds useful, but I don't know if we want to have this skill just yet. So she wants 40 malt syrup, but we don't want to produce beer just yet. Eventually we might want to, but we came here for a different reason. We want some contacts. She will introduce us to this neighborhood, where we found another hooligan crew and a police officer, and Brown. So as we sell stuff and as we manufacture stuff and do shady stuff, we get more heat, and the more heat we have, the higher the chance of one of those officers going over to our neighborhood and basically blocking our operation, or even eventually raid our joints. So we wanna avoid that either by managing the heat that we generate or by paying the cops to look the other way, which probably will go with the second option. We met some. They're one of the many small-time troublemakers that can be found all over the city. Unlike outfits, these hooligans only occupy one corner, and while they can get very possessive of it, their ambitions are limited. If you're on good terms, they might share access to some illegal goods or help you in another way. However, if you want to get in a fight, just get into a conversation, start insulting it, and see what happens. We don't want to do any of that. So, can we sell some brick wine? I think we already sold some. Yeah, she only wants to buy one. Well, no, we don't want to waste one of our actions on that. Right, so what did we unlock here? Someone who's selling Crocs. That's not very useful. Can she introduce us to someone useful? Doesn't seem so. The other option we have is to just go around and start clicking on these businesses, and they will eventually we'll discover someone who is useful to us and we can sell to them. But what do we want to do here? We want to buy some Crocs actually, and where we can buy Crocs is from someone who we want to improve our relationship with. So if we go over to Crocs, we can, but we have to go all around here, which I don't want to do just yet. So let's go to one of these closer ones. If we go over to this corner, we go to the bakery. Do you know anyone useful? Doesn't seem so. So, and we actually can't buy the Crocs because our car is full. So let's go with the other option and start clicking on some of these businesses here. For example, this one. This one sells Crocs. What about this one? Ooh, this one says that they want to talk to us, which means they probably want something from us and they'll give us a quest. Heard a bit of a rumor that you can get hands on some interesting potent liquids. Is that true? Of course. And they want 5 bricks of wine, which is great because we have some on us right now and we can give it to them and we can definitely do business together, improve relationships. So we gave them some free wine, but now they will provide us with some relationship access and some other stuff. So this was generally a good move. Go over to the next turn. We see that the police officer, this hooligan, and this Leo Hansen has moved. So let's see what skills can you teach us. Applejacking. That's not really useful. What is this? I've got another way to turn apples and apple juice into something even more potent than hard cider, namely Applejack. Not quite brandy, but far stronger than most. It's been made in the US for a long time, so if you get some apple juice, I'll show you how it's done. That may be useful at some point, but for now we just want some information. And this will give us the information on this guy, which not really useful because this guy won't be able to do business with us since it's in these guys' territory. So if we head over to it, they might try to beat us up or they will ignore us, but we still won't be able to do anything like sell or buy stuff. But we might be able to get another contact. So let's go and do that. Fortunately, a lot of the early game is just getting familiar around the neighborhood and seeing who sells what. Oh, they want to buy up to 84 crocs. Mother load. Okay, so it looks like this guy will be our main, how do you call it? Will be the supplier, our main consumer. So we just sold 33 crocs of brick wine for almost 600 bucks, which is really useful cash flow for now. And we want to use that to, let's see here, where can we buy crocs? Here, right? To buy some crocs. And where, let's buy from this guy. It doesn't really matter. Like, we get an increase in relationship. We can't really haggle for now, but we will pick some up nonetheless. And they cost like 60 bucks for 30 crocs anyway, so that should be plenty enough for now. So we'll buy all of it. Don't really remember how much we need, but I'll just buy all of it, and that should be good for a while. So we'll leave it here, get the beer, get the cider, and we're almost done selling off our initial inventory, which is good because we will be producing some stuff. We need 45 and we have only 30. So if we have less than what we need, I don't know if they will actually produce. I think we need the full 45 in order to begin production. So let's see. We bought from this guy, right? Where can we get some more? From this cafe, it seems. Let's do that. We can negotiate the price. 20% discount, I'll take it. Get 10 more. Why? Oh, because we're full. Right. And we wasted our action points. Anyway, I think that's where we're gonna leave it off here. We had a really good start. We sold off most of our inventory, set up our initial operation, leveled up, got some contacts around the neighborhood, and this should help us get started. So next time we will continue expanding here. We will try and level up, get another crew member, and maybe even take out this gang because they're quite close to us here. They're only sitting 1 block away, which is kind of makes me uncomfortable. We would like it if they were gone, but in order to do that we need weapons, so maybe we'll go talk to these hooligans and we'll have lots of fun doing that. So until next time, thanks for watching.